Click the first link in the description for the best Askreddit content. My 29F, ex's 34M, daughter, 13F, is trying to ruin my relationship with my fiancé, 30M. I met my ex's daughter, Gemma, when she was 4 and we broke up when she was 9. I grew really attached to Gemma over the 5 years I knew her, since I would be the one to look after her mostly whenever she was with her dad, so I really missed her when we broke up. Despite having a bad breakup, my ex agreed to let me spend time with Gemma as neither of us wanted her to be affected by it. I usually see her at least twice a month until the lockdown. My fiancé knew about this before we started dating and was fine with it. We got engaged earlier this year and Gemma has taken it really badly. She never mentioned anything to me and seemed very happy when I told her, but she's been sending my fiancé nasty stuff on Facebook, including proof I was having an affair with her dad. My fiancé blocked her, but she keeps making fake accounts to continue harassing him. I've asked her to stop multiple times and she insists the fake accounts aren't her. It's obvious they are. Last week she crossed the line when she threatened to report him to the medical board if he didn't break up with me. My fiancé now wants me to stop talking to her. We had a big fight over it where he basically said he couldn't marry me if I chose to keep her in my life. He didn't say these exact words, but it was obvious this was what he was implying. I don't want to lose my fiancé, but I can't just abandon Gemma. I've known her for most of her life and if I cut her off it'll devastate her. I need advice on what to do. Too long didn't read. I've stayed in contact with my ex's daughter post-breakup. It's never been a problem for my fiancé before, but now that we're engaged, Gemma is actively trying to sabotage our relationship. She's tried to make it look like I'm having an affair with her dad and threatened to report my fiancé to the medical board. My fiancé now wants me to cut contact with her. You need to talk to her dad about this. Stat. I actually don't blame your fiancé for asking you to cut contact, because Gemma is threatening his career and it's completely out of line. I understand wanting to stay in a child's life, but if she's actively threatening your relationship you may end up having to cut ties with her, for everyone's sake. You are not doing her any favors by continuing a relationship with her in which you are basically endorsing her behavior. Limit time. Why isn't she in therapy? Why is she your responsibility and not her father's? You are doing yourself, your fiancé, and Gemma a huge disservice by not actually addressing this problem. Gemma needs professional help. This is not normal or okay, and it is especially unfair to subject your fiancé to this harassment and abuse from a teenager. Should I tell my ex-best friend's boyfriend that she cheated on him with my FWB? Hello people of Reddit. Last week my 22F best friend 21F of 6 years slept with my FWB 28M. At one point in time, I had strong feelings for him. We would often go on dates and trips together, basically in an open relationship without a title for 3 years, with the boundaries set that I didn't sleep with his friends and he didn't sleep with mine. I introduced my friend to him last year as we would often go out and party together. Long story short, last week they were coming to visit me at the restaurant I work at, as we were all going to plan a trip together for my birthday this week. But I didn't clarify which job I was at, so they drove to the wrong city. I told them to just eat there and I would meet up with them after. As they were getting drinks and dinner, she kept asking me if I was mad that she was at dinner with him alone, and I didn't think I had any reason to be. She was also texting me saying how similar we are and how we would get married someday. Lol. I got off of work as they were leaving the restaurant, so they told me to meet them at her house. I get to her house and neither of them were there and they were not answering their phones, so I knew something was up. I then drove to his house and not so surprisingly, they were there. She then called me and said that she was sorry and told me she was parked down the street from her house talking on the phone to her boyfriend and to meet her at her house in 5 minutes. As she was talking on the phone with me, they both walked out of his house and he drove her home. I followed them to her house and caught my FWB at the end of the street. I asked him if they slept together and at first he was lying, but I eventually got it out of him. He said they did sleep together and if I were to tell her boyfriend to leave his name out of it, it. I proceeded to walk into her house and call her some nasty names as she was crying and denying all of it. I told her that I was going to tell her boyfriend, but she was still denying all of it. I left her house and blocked them both on everything. I was strongly considering calling her boyfriend that night to tell him, but figured I should wait until I calmed down to do so. While I do want to tell him because he deserves to know she's unfaithful, I also kind of want to just block them both out of my life entirely and move on with it. Another reason that is holding me back is that she is quite spiteful and I know she will try to take me down with her. Is telling her boyfriend just me being spiteful and petty? Am I being selfish by not telling him, with the reason being that she will try to ruin my life as well? Too long didn't read. My friend of many years slept with my FWB. Should I tell her boyfriend? First of all, sorry you have such a shitty ex-best friend. She's trash AF. 1. For fucking the guy you have been involved with for 3 years and clearly knew you had feelings for him. And 2. For having such a trash dude break one of your boundaries in not sleeping with each other's friends. If I were you, I'd fuck one of his. You definitely need to tell her BF so he can get himself out of a relationship with such a terrible selfish person. Who cares if she's spiteful? You already blocked her anyways. She's out of your life. You owe it to her BF to tell him. If I were you, I'd fuck one of his. I doubt he'd care. She lied to both you and her boyfriend, so I would tell him immediately. I don't give a damn about whether she's spiteful or not. Please waste no time and spare no feelings telling him. The more time you wait, the more it will hurt the both of you. Leave his name out of it, what an asshat. Maybe you should have left your dick out of it. I'd want to know for sure. And the FWB doesn't deserve any favors. If someone knew my BF had cheated on me, I would really appreciate them telling me. I'm out here to have a good time, not to get gonorrhea or some ish, ha ha ha. I'm sure this isn't the first time she's cheated. It's just close to home for you, so you found this one out. If you do, prepare for him not to believe you without hard evidence. Woman shrugging. Golden rule, tell him because you'd want to know, right? Also, your FWB crossed your agreement about not sleeping with friends. I'd cut them both out and move on to healthier relationships, especially with yourself. I had a minor medical emergency today and my boyfriend didn't show any concern. I, 24F, think my boyfriend, 25M, is tired of my condition and I'm unsure what to do. So, backstory, my boyfriend and I have been together a little over a year. I have endometriosis and have really bad pelvic pain and frequent flare-ups. I occasionally have ovarian cysts that rupture. Today at work one ruptured. I knew right away that it was different than my typical pain. It was so intense and I felt dizzy and like I was going to get sick. I couldn't even move or sit up straight. Everyone suggested they call 911 but ultimately decided it would be best if my boyfriend got me and I could rest at home. When he picked me up he asked if he thought it would require surgery and if I needed to go to the hospital. I said no, I think it should pass and I should be okay if I rest. His response was okay. Good. I have a lot of work to do. Since we've been home he's been very cold and distant. The pain is now a little less but still terrible and I have either spent the whole time laying in bed or in the bathroom getting sick. He offered to get me a heating pad but other than that hasn't shown any concern. When I ask for any kind of help, he seems annoyed. If this was the first time he's acted like this, I wouldn't be too concerned. But each time I'm in pain, he becomes more and more distant. When we first started dating, he was very helpful, caring and sweet. Now he is the opposite. I honestly think he's sick of my condition and taking care of me / helping me. I'm at a loss what to do because I would help him if the roles were reversed. But I'm starting to feel like a burden. Whenever I ask if everything's okay or if I apologize for inconveniencing him, he gets more annoyed. It doesn't help that last week I severely sprained my ankle and tore some ligaments in it, so I'm also still recovering from that. I'm feeling like a burden and I'm not sure how to approach it. Since the beginning of our relationship, I've already had 2 surgeries to try to help my condition. My doctor said it's unlikely my pain will go away. so this is what he's going to have to deal with if we end up staying together. I guess I'm just unsure how to approach this because I'm tired of feeling like an inconvenience, but at the same time I want him to care or show concern, but I also can't make him. Too long didn't read. I had an ovarian cyst rupture due to a chronic condition I have. Every time I have a flare-up or a cyst rupture, my boyfriend gets more annoyed each time. I think he's tired of helping me and I'm starting to feel like a burden. I'm not sure how to approach this. Update: pain got so bad tonight that I'm going to the ER now. Asked my boyfriend to take me and he seemed put out, so I said never mind and asked a friend. He felt guilty I guess and ended up taking me after all, but has been silent the whole time. Please check with your doctor to see if you need to get checked out. I had a cyst tear my ovary open years ago and I needed surgery. If this is different from your normal pain and it's not getting better, it may be more serious than you're expecting. I am starting to wonder if it's not more serious than I originally thought. I'm still curled up in bed almost unable to move. I'm going to go to the doctor or urgent care in the morning if I don't feel better. My partner was a perfectly healthy 28-year-old for the first 4 months of our relationship. A week before our first Valentine's Day, we were in the ICU because they suddenly couldn't walk. We found out it was multiple sclerosis. I spent the next 6 months driving, cooking, picking up meds, helping them get dressed, etc. It got better with better meds, but I was still acting as a caretaker for my partner of less than a year while I started a PhD program. My mental health took a dive over that first year, but I was never able to lean on my partner because they needed to lean on me. I never felt like I was allowed to be anything but the anchor even when I was crumbling. I'm madly in love with my partner and we'll celebrate 5 years in December. What needed to happen was for us to talk about how my needs for support could also be met while supporting them. I would encourage you to talk to your boyfriend about how you feel. It is a battle to struggle with a chronic illness and you deserve compassion and support. It is also draining to be the person that provides that support, and he may feel like his tank is running low, as well. Talking together can help you strategize how you can best make sure both your cups get filled and all your needs met. When I met my husband, I knew he had some issues with his back. Degenerative discs, weight gain, plus a couple decades in manufacturing, have really done a number on his back and shoulders. I love him with every fiber of my being, but sometimes I just need a break from his pain. I have my own chronic conditions, polycystic ovaries, severe migraines and spasms that leave me utterly drained, and I can't be the strong one for both of us all the time. The focus is always on him and his pain and his worsening condition. I started feeling like it was a competition to see who felt the worst. It sort of came to a head last year when I told him to go back to the damn doctor. He's the type that goes once and uses that initial diagnosis like a crutch, and start a treatment plan / pain management therapy, or, if he intended to continue to ignore the signals his body was screaming, stop fucking complaining about the pain. If he's actively trying to resolve the issue, I will be more than happy to help him, listen to him complain, whatever he needs. Long story short, first you need to talk to him about it. Ask him how he feels. Does he understand endometriosis and how terrible it is? On the other side of that, are you doing everything you can to manage your condition, meds, procedures, etc., so that he actually sees that your condition isn't something that will be a death knell for your relationship? If I try to put myself in his shoes, I can see myself becoming a bit apathetic to constantly having to care for someone. Is he handling it appropriately? Probably not, but he's a human being, and the constant stress of having to drop what he's doing to care for you when you have a flare-up is probably beginning to weigh on him. This is probably something you should try talking to him about at length, possibly with a relationship counselor, because the resentment that's building up is unsustainable. I honestly think he's sick of my condition and taking care of me / helping me. This might be somewhat true, even if he does love you. As someone with their own chronic conditions, sometimes you have to take on part of the load yourself and unburden those around you. How often do you talk about your condition? How often do plans change around it? How often are you two focusing on him and what is going on in his life and how he is feeling? Is there treatment you can do to help alleviate these episodes? What have you worked with in relation to a doctor to help treat this condition? Do you work with a therapist to help unload your mental load from dealing living with this condition constantly. You all are also pretty young. At 25, people are still in a bit of a selfish stage of their life in many cases. Regardless, it's hard to say what the issue is. Some people are honestly just not a caretaker type and will never adjust well to being with someone with a chronic condition. I wish I had more to give you. Best of luck.